Liverpool v. everybody. Happy Monday to everybody. Hope everyone had a good weekend. Will Liverpool win? It's hard to imagine any of us not having a good weekend because, let's be honest, depending upon Liverpool winning or not, it does sort of dictate our weekend. I know it does for me, or maybe it did in the past. I don't know if it so much does now, but more or less. I thought it was important to come back and just talk a bit more about the game and just how proud I am of the team. Obviously, I want to mention a few players for sure. And then a few thoughts just about the Chelsea game. I know it's a bit early. We don't play Chelsea till Saturday, but why not crack on a bit about a little bit about that, just early feelings about that game. But first, just Burnley, and I just want to say, Burnley come to Anfield probably with a bit of confidence on what they were able to do with us last season. Obviously, somewhat different team. We got a lot of guys back and fit and healthy. So I hope that would have gone into their thinking too. Yeah, we got the better of them last season. And let's be honest, that loss we took to them last season, it hurt. It hurt. Number one, and then also I think it killed any chance of us being undefeated at home. I think that ended sort of the streak of that, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong about that, but I know that the defeat was really, really hard to take. So they would have come into the game, particularly after their first game that they didn't get anything from. I forget who they played, Brighton maybe, but they would have felt confident. And we all know it's pretty obvious Deitch and Jurgen don't really get on, and that adds to sort of the spectacle. And then you know how Burnley play, very physical, very tough. They want to, as I said, I think at halftime or at the final whistle, the game Saturday, that they want the other team to feel them. They want them to feel their physicality, and often sometimes just downright brutal way of playing football. But you give Sean Dyche credit because he's kept Burnley up for this long, and they found a way to exist in the Premier League. It's not always the prettiest way of playing, but it's efficient for them, and it gets them the results. I think last season they were the closest they have been of not returning to the Premier League. But at the end of the day, they're back here again. So much respect to them for that. And then adding players like Dwight McNeil and Rodriguez are guys that you feel like sort of play football, as opposed to the other kind of lumps they got, Ashley Barnes and the other Australian guy, I think he's from. But I thought we handled them pretty well as we could. In a game like this, there are chances that guys can get hurt, and that's just when you play against Burnley. Unfortunately, that's just kind of at least my thinking going into it. And with that being said, I want to first just get in on Harvey Elliott. 18, is he 18, 19? I mean, him being loaned out to Blackburn last season, I think was one of the best things that would have ever happened in his career when he looks back on it. And they talk about players being given the chance. No, Harvey Elliott took this opportunity. Let's not get it twisted. Let's not mince words. He took the opportunity, grabbed it, and ran with it. And I think it's a situation where Klopp has some thinking to do. And we'll get to another position where I think two other positions where I think Klopp has some thinking to do in general. Not even necessarily just for this Chelsea game, but in general throughout the season. And again, it's just another player that you can see will help our bench to look that much better as the season goes on. It definitely helps that everybody's fit for the most. Well, I think everybody's pretty much fit. But when you got a guy like Harvey Elliott, knowing that we just got rid of Shaqiri, I know they play different kind of styles, different positions, maybe more or less similar stature and build, I would say almost though. But that just gives you that much more confidence of what we have, what we can bring, and how we can have that element of surprise when we're playing against teams. But Harvey Elliott, which is so impressive, I think he was tackled. Well, I know he was tackled way more than any other Liverpool player on the day by a long stretch. I don't think it was even close. I think he had at least 3 or 4 more. He was tackled at least 3 or 4 more times than anybody else. So, and he dealt with it. You didn't see a lot of rolling on the ground. You didn't see it. He just got up and kept fighting. So it's just brilliant to see a player like that taking that chance and showing that he's a guy that needs to be thought of when the 11 comes out, and that's just what it is. I mean, I was listening to the Anfield Rap, and they made a point that I agreed with, and Ox might be looking at that thinking, I need to do my thing next time I'm put in, because this kid is really, really showing out. So just big up to Harvey Elliott, man. A full 90 minutes. I mean, that's big. That's really, really big. And I'm just proud of his growth, of his maturity in such a small period of time. And his clear want to be a part of this team, and be a part of the glory that we can achieve this season and beyond. The forward players, again, 2 forward guys getting goals, this time Mane and then Jota again, who again, Jota's one of those guys that beyond just being active and making runs and moving around up front, which most attacking players should do anyway, he just finds a way to get goals. And I don't know, a lot of times the game goes on and you don't really remember too many, amazing things from him necessarily, but he's always in the right place at the right time and he's always getting the goals. And this goes back to last year. This isn't, you couldn't just say, oh, it's only 2 games. He's been doing this since he's been at Liverpool. Let's be real. Until the injuries came, he's been pretty consistent, more or less, with getting the goals. So we got to big him up on that. And again, another headache, I think. Probably a good headache if you ask Klopp, but another guy you got to say, Firmino's my dude, but this guy Jota just keeps putting goals in. I mean, he just keeps scoring goals. So what do you do there? And then again, as I said with the Harvey Elliott, it's another player that no matter who was starting between them two, and they can start together to be honest, but no matter who is starting between those two, you're going to have that other guy is somebody you can bring off the bench unless they're starting together. So it's only a good thing, but with Jota scoring the way he's scoring, we have 3 pretty lethal dudes up front. That's one other guy that teams have to prepare for, or at least be concerned about. So, I mean, that it's just a great situation we're in, and having all our guys back almost is like a collective extra signing. I mean, it really is. I know all of us as fans, we want signings, but honestly, if we get to the end of this window and we haven't gotten one guy, yeah, part of me would think we could have used one other dude somewhere. But then again, the team is so good, and then you got to just kind of knock on wood and hope that, you stay healthy. And that's a big knock on wood because it's football. You just never know. So I see both sides. I think, again, if we didn't get anybody, I wouldn't be terribly upset. But I'd be sort of there'd be a part of me that would think, what if we go deep into the season and we've got issues and we look at the bench and we haven't got anybody. But that's why I'm talking about the guys that we can have that we bring from the bench. And again, let's be honest, I can't imagine another season like last season where we just got guys falling literally every game. It felt like at one point, or every other game, or at least 2 guys a month were falling. Let's just put it like that. So just happy about what our bench is coming. It's starting to look like. Last but not least, of course, Simicast. Listen, let's keep it a buck. Does anybody feel like we're missing, that we've dropped off at all in that position? First 2 games, but when you look at Simicast, is there anything that he's doing or not doing that we have come accustomed to with Robertson? I can't see it. Obviously, the first game, he, as Klopp famously said, the plug was pulled, and fair enough. Okay, Robertson had his time. We had to wait his turn and get acclimated. We know how Klopp does with certain positions. And this guy has been patient, and again, another guy that has waited his turn and got it and took it, and he's been amazing. Getting assists, playing well defensively, physical, doesn't back down, and you need guys like that, particularly in games against, again, Burnley, but just in general. So in those 3, more so, because the midfield, we've got a good amount of people that, if Elliott does sit against Chelsea or in general throughout the season, we got a different variance of dudes we can put in there depending on how Klopp wants to play. But, that striker position and that left back position, as the week goes on, I can, again, it's just Monday. I can get my starting 11 prediction, maybe Friday or Thursday. But I would not be upset to see Jota back up there and then Simicast in the back. I just wouldn't. I wouldn't. And let me just make this clear, man. After Van Dijk, is there another center back better than Joel Matip? I mean, really. The only thing Joel Matip is that he, unfortunately, is another guy that, gets an injury here, and it seems like out of the sky he gets these injuries. It's like, it's so weird, man. We make jokes about fingernail and toenail or something, but it is that it's almost comical. It's like, why does this guy always finds a way every season to get an injury? And sometimes he's right back, and sometimes it's like last season, it takes him a long time to get back. But that tandem, please tell me, and beyond the Premier League, please tell me another center back tandem. Just tell me one that's on their level at least. Because you can't find one better. I'm sorry. There's no other center back tandem better than those two. It's just not. And I know, Konate, I'm not sure what he was told when he came to this team, and he'll surely play. Let's not get it twisted. But I'm wondering how much time he's looking to get and how much time he actually will get. Because, that center back tandem is just, it's next level, man. It's next level. And I think both of those guys feel like, man, it's our body, it's injuries, you can't really help it, but we got something to prove this season. And we owe it to our team, the fans, the club, whatever. The team is looking good, and yes, it's just first 2 games, and yes, there's things that you want to see us do better, but right now, in this early part of the season, it's really about just getting those points on the board. However you got to do it. If we can keep getting clean sheets, great. Again, there have been moments where you thought, if it was a better team, better striker, better person on the ball for the other team, they would have gotten something, but they didn't. And this, you beat who's in front of you. And, listen, when you look back on it, this is probably the best way we could have imagined starting the season, at least the first 2 games. But now it gets serious. We're playing Chelsea, and we really get to see what both teams are made of. Chelsea are also 2 wins, no losses. I can't remember if I don't think they've conceded a goal yet. So, it's 2 teams that are coming up against each other, high in the table, good defenses, good goalkeepers, good attacking players, good midfield. So, it's really up to your opinion, arguably, which set of, which defense is better, which goalkeeper is better, whatever, which I won't get into now. But this is a big test for both teams, and I look forward to it. But I just really wanted to come back and just say, well done to the boys to face that challenge, which Burnley is, let's be honest. And a team that, we've smashed a couple times before, but they've also got the better of us, whether it's them getting our players injured or them beating us, in the past. So just really proud of the boys and really, really feeling confident about the whole season, but particularly just taking, one game at a time. The next game is Chelsea, and I'm really, really looking forward to that, to see us against a top team and just see how we turn it on. Because I feel like in some of these other games, these guys are human. Sometimes they may be pacing themselves. They may not be not saying they're not putting everything in it, but they're playing in a certain way where they know, okay, we got this. I just think certain teams definitely do drop a little bit when they play against certain teams. I think that's just a natural thing. It's not a knock on them. It's not a bad thing. They just sort of drop a little bit and, conserve a little bit of that bite, for the big occasion. So hopefully that's the case. We got a few days before that game. There'll be a lot of things going on between now and then. Maybe even a transfer or 2. I guess that depends on what Origi does. But just ending with a shout out to Shaqiri. I think he was always a player that was going to just be a bit part, to be honest. He was never going to be a consistent starter in the team or even a consistent guy off the bench. Obviously, injuries got in the way a bit. So, maybe we would have seen more of that. That didn't sort of slow him down a bit, so to speak. But farewell to him. I thought the United game alone is something that I'll always remember him for, coming off the bench, getting those 2 goals, us getting the victory, obviously in the Champions League, the final, or the Barcelona game. He had assist to Gini, I believe. So he played his role. Obviously, I'm sure he would have wanted to have a more memorable time or existence at Liverpool. But, he's gotten what he's wanted, which is a move to Lyon, who are doing pretty bad there in Ligue 1. But, maybe that'll turn around. They've lost a few players, obviously, Depay being probably the biggest one. But, I wish him the best. Wish him the best in France, and I hope that he can flourish a bit more and, get some more, years in his legs as a professional football player. And I think he will at Lyon. So, big up to him. We were able to get 9.5, I think, for him, which is double the original amount that Lyon was putting forward. So we got him off the books, and it looks like Origi is probably a guy that I wouldn't be surprised if he stayed. But honestly, just for his career, I hope that he moves on as well, so he can get some consistent playing time, or more consistent than what he's getting at Liverpool. But that's me for now, guys. Just wanted to come back and speak a bit more about the game. But just proud of the boys at this point, and how we're just being professional in the games, and efficient in getting the job done. So looking forward to the next game, and I'll see you guys real soon. Have a great week, everybody.